I want you to imagine a scenario. It's 11 AM. You're sitting in your living room having a cup of coffee when you get a phone call and you get told that you need to get to the Nürburgring in time for qualifying for the Eiffel Grand Prix and then race with no practice at all. This is exactly what happened to Nico Hulkenberg last race, and what he managed to do was simply unbelievable. With no practice and just 4 qualifying laps, he went from last place to finish P8. And it's just another story in Nico Hulkenberg's absolute madness of a 2020. Even more of a madness than what most of us have experienced this year. In this video, I'm going to look at Hulkenberg's year from the start of the year to the present day and ask if he could potentially be back on the grid for the 2021 F1 season. From the very start, I want to say, Nico Hulkenberg should not have lost his place on the Formula 1 grid, and it was very harsh that Renault decided to get rid of him, especially considering how they said before Daniel Ricciardo joined that they wanted to build a team around Nico and that he just needed the right car to compete at the front end of the grid. You can see this in season 1 of Drive to Survive if you want to. In my opinion, he should be driving for Haas right now, and it sounded like that was going to be the case last year, but they decided to keep Romain Grosjean on for another year, even though Hulk was clearly the superior driver in 2019. So he was meant to be having a year off in 2020 and seemed to be living his best life on Instagram while he was going to have a normal, relaxed year. But 2020 has been anything but normal and relaxed. We arrived at round 4 for the British Grand Prix in a heavily altered calendar after the pandemic concerning the virus that I'm not allowed to say the name of on YouTube.
If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble. And I don't want to be in big trouble.
And Sergio Perez tested positive for this mystery virus, which meant that someone would have to fill in for him for the weekend. Nico was eating a croissant in a cafe in Monaco when he got the call to come and drive for the weekend at Silverstone for Racing Point, the same team that he drove for in 2012 and from 2014 to 2016 when they were branded as Force India. He got his seat fit, simulation time and tests for the C word in time for practice and would compete in the race, except he didn't. After getting used to a whole new car and qualifying 13th, his car suffered an engine failure, meaning that he didn't even get to start the race. I personally was in Spain but with silent S at that moment, and it looked as if that was it for Hulkenberg in Formula 1 in 2020. But no. Checo tested positive again the following week for the 70th anniversary Grand Prix at Silverstone, which meant that Hulk had to step in again. Hopefully he would actually be able to start the race this time, and he was able to, but not before qualifying P3. Yes, P3. Third place. This performance was widely applauded by the fans and the paddock alike, with Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo congratulating him the second after he got out of his Racing Point car. Max would also go on to say that Nico should never have been off the grid in the first place, which is exactly how I and a lot of F1 fans feel. His race was also truly impressive, being in P4 for the majority of it before having to take an extra pit stop and would cross the line in P7. But now, with Perez better and testing negative, it looked like Nico Hulkenberg's work was done once again. But again, it wasn't. For the last race, the Eiffel Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, Lance Stroll fell ill on Saturday morning and was not feeling well enough to drive during the weekend. I explained the backstory behind this third iteration of Hulkenberg in the intro of this video. And he arrived at the track in his Porsche 911 GT2 RS whilst FP3, the only practice session of the weekend, was ongoing because Friday got fogged out, I'll say, not washed out. Hulk's call-up was so last minute that he had to race with his old Renault helmet and race with a car not tuned to his liking, and his 4 laps in qualifying was his practice. He qualified last, which doesn't sound great, but was only 0.4 of a second of getting into Q2, and his race was something special. In front of his home crowd, Nico went from last to P8, scoring 4 points, which helped Racing Point overtake McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, and they now find themselves in third. 3 races, 2 starts, 10 points. Mental stuff. Nico has put himself firmly into the driver market with these performances, and there are 2 teams that he would fit into very well. These teams are Alfa Romeo and Haas. But where do I think he will end up? Unfortunately, I don't think he will get a seat for next season. He deserves it, but with so many young drivers coming through and Sergio Perez on the market, it's hard to see a team signing him, which is a massive shame. Nico Hulkenberg is a world-class racing driver. Remember, he won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2015 on his first attempt and has proved what he can do when given the car as seen this year. What happens for Nico Hulkenberg in the future will be interesting to see, and I wish all the best for him. Maybe we'll see him one more time this season, although that seems rather unlikely. Thank you for watching this video. If you do enjoy my content, I really appreciate if you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on various social media in the description down below, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Until next time, goodbye.